1 year to the day since King Eddie took over at Newcastle United, and what a year it's been. It's an Eddie Howe appreciation video, so stick around. Welcome back to Black White Banter Newcastle fans. If you are new and you've just stumbled across us randomly, drop down, give us one of these, it goes a long way. Yes, I get sick of saying that, but I've got to say it because it gets us into the Newcastle United fan vortex. Maybe other fans, I don't know, but I'm only really bothered about Newcastle fans. And if you do like this video by the end of it, drop down, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and get us across all social media. Black and White Banter, all one word, and I post on there every single day. Now, there's no final word video this week because the fixtures are coming thick and fast. Crystal Palace on Wednesday, Chelsea on Saturday. You're talking about the final word and then Newcastle are playing again, so it's a little bit silly. What I would rather talk about today is the anniversary of Eddie Howe, King Eddie, taking over at Newcastle United. 1 year. Wow. What a man what a job this man has done. In my lifetime, I don't honestly feel like a manager has galvanised the football club as much as he has. I don't think a manager has ever come across as likeable as what Eddie Howe has, and I've never had as much faith in a manager as what I have in Eddie Howe. You're going back as far as Sir Bobby Robson, God rest his soul, when I was just really starting to get into football as I reached my early teens, for someone who's done as much for this football club in just a year as what he did. You know, I cannot stress enough what a fantastic job this man has done. So I'm going to talk about 5 of the key areas that I think stand out for me in this last year as why Eddie Howe has got Newcastle United into 3rd in the league and has done such a fantastic job that I think in years to come, Premier League fans, neutral fans, football fans will look back on the job he's done from the season last year to now, and it'll be talked about for many, many decades. For me, first, I'm just going to start with a big one, transfers. I know we're only a year into his reign, and all of these things I'm talking about, yes, it's only 365 days. There's a long way to go for some of these factors to maybe change, but we can only talk about the now, and that's what I'm talking about. He hasn't really put a foot wrong in the transfer window. He has come into a football club where money is no object. That's never happened in my lifetime. Literally, have this, have that, buy who you want. We were 20th in the league when he came in, 19th, 20th. He could have gone into that January transfer window and bought superstars, something he's never had at his disposal at Bournemouth. He sat down, and the man that he is, he wanted the right characters, he wanted the right personalities, he wanted the right leaders, and he wanted experience. To bring in players like Matt Targett, like Dan Burn, like Chris Wood, who many people will still maybe talk about as being his worst signing. I would maybe argue a lot of people in the pub would say that. These are the sorts of characters that helped us, not only on the pitch when we were playing football matches, but also away from the football pitch, on the training ground, the likes of Kieran Trippier. Yes, I know he's world class, and that a signing like that would go without saying, but what these kind of personalities helped us do is build a team spirit when team spirit seemed non-existent, because we were literally staring relegation down the face. Going to this transfer window, he wanted Sven Botman the summer just gone. In January, he went back after him, and my God, at 22 years old, he looks like he could be one of the greatest defenders to ever wear a Newcastle shirt in the Premier League era. So much still to come from him. So solid on the ball, so solid in the air, and just an all-round fantastic defender so far, and he hasn't even properly adapted to the Premier League. You've got Bruno. I couldn't not mention him in January. He didn't fall into that category of experience in the Premier League, but he was the right personality, and we see that now. Not only does he have all the ability, and that's what Eddie Howe could have gone after for 100 million, 150 million, whatever. He could have signed players on paper who are the most skillful players in the world. Bruno fit Eddie Howe's model of exactly the personality he wanted. And look how much he loves Newcastle. He loves the fans, he loves the city, and he buys into this project and this football club more than I think I've ever seen an international footballer do. And that was another fantastic bit of business. Nick Pope, England international, solid as houses in goal, for a very shrewd bit of money from Burnley. Another great signing, and we could just go on and on and on. And in my opinion, bearing in mind Chris Wood now is a backup striker and helped us through that spell when Callum Wilson was injured, Eddie Howe has not made a bad signing. And if you disagree with that, let me know in the comments. So his transfers so far have been absolutely impeccable. And long may that continue. And yes, every manager signs a bad player. Sir Alex Ferguson signed a bad player. Sir Bobby Robson, who I was just talking about, signed a bad player. But as it stands at the moment, there hasn't been one for this football club. There really, really hasn't. And long may that continue as this project continues to grow and the money continues getting spent. Next up for me has got to be how obsessed he is. I think the work that you put in away from the training ground only benefits what happens on the pitch. Eddie Howe is one of them men. He's done an interview with Jake Humphries talking about him as a person, him as a manager. I highly recommend it. It's called the High Performance Podcast. It's just dropped this week. It's absolutely fantastic insight into him. And he talks about how when he was away from the game, he wanted to learn a bit about himself. And he started studying and writing down training ground methods, even though he didn't have a job, for 2 hours, turned into 4 hours, turned into 6 hours, turned into 8 hours a day. And that's when he knew he was ready to get back into football. When he first joined this football club, he was showing up at 6 o'clock in the morning, first person on the training ground. He's absolutely meticulous in everything that he does. He's obsessed with what's happening on the pitch. He's obsessed with what's happening off the pitch. And that is exactly the kind of manager, the only type of manager, in my opinion, who is ever going to be capable of taking a team from 20th to 3rd place in a year. So long may that continue. And I think Eddie Howe, the exciting thing for me about him is there's only more room for him to grow. He's a very young manager. He's only had one job apart from us, one significant job in Bournemouth, where he was there a very long time, did amazing things for them. But he only has room to keep learning from maybe some mistakes, learning from what's gone right, and growing and growing and growing and developing as a coach. And that's what excites me as well. Next one up for me has to be his tactics. I have never, and I'm not getting caught up in the moment here, I've never seen a team press like Newcastle United do. The fitness levels he has managed to pull off, which is fair play to him and all of his training staff, by the way, his backroom staff, not just him. It's a team effort. But when I watched us play Aston Villa, when we beat them 4-0, when we were 4-0 up in the 85th minute, I saw every single player chasing them down like dogs. Almiron's good at it, we know that. Longstaff has clocked up the most distance. Well, this was a stat a couple of weeks ago. I don't know whether it's still the same. He's clocked up the most distances out of any midfielder in the Premier League, which is an incredible stat in my opinion. Callum Wilson never gives the defenders a minute, and we press and we press and we press. And that's another reason why we're so hard to play. That's another reason why we are turning St. James's Park into an absolute fortress. Not only that, but at the other end of the field, we started a little bit sloppy attacking wise, and everything is starting to click now. It's absolutely incredible to watch us play. We hold the ball. Our ball retention's fantastic in most matches, especially at home. We defend as a team. The defending, I was worried about Eddie Howe when we came in, because Eddie Howe never had a reputation as a defensive coach. And he actually said in this podcast that when he was at Bournemouth, he only had one style of play. And that's very important in a lot of ways, because that's your identity as a coach. But he needed to adapt a little bit more, and that's what he studied in his year out the game. I personally think a big part of that was defending and knowing how to defend. And he's built a team from the back. A lot of the best teams over history have started with that solid foundation at the back, and that's what we have. And again, the best defensive side that I've probably seen in my lifetime currently, and that's a stuck record. Everything I'm saying on repeat is best I've seen. And again, that falls into his tactics. We look so dangerous in the final third. We solid at the back, and we press, and we just don't give teams a second on the ball. And it's absolutely incredible to watch. So his tactics for me have been absolutely incredible since he's come in. Fourth one for me has to be the man he is, his mannerisms, his personality. I've never had a manager where I watch every single minute of a press conference weekly. This morning I went for a walk and I listened to his full 30-minute pre-Crystal Palace Cup game press conference, because the man just speaks so intelligently, so passionately, and so grounded as well. He gets asked lots of questions about winning cups and Champions League and this and that, and he just keeps his feet on the ground, and he's just brilliant in everything that he says. He comes across so passionate about the football club, so passionate about the fans. He speaks highly of all of his players. And previous managers, I'm not going to name any names, but they've talked in press conferences more about the opposition and how dangerous they are. Eddie Howe is all about his own team. He's all about bigging up his own squad and backing himself, his tactics, his players, and the football club going into every single match. And that's another big factor for me, to have someone who's so likeable and comes across so authentic in his passion for the football club. It's just incredible, and long may that continue as well, because I don't watch telly anymore. I just listen to Eddie Howe press conferences. And the final one for me is just giving us our football club back. Yes, I know, it sounds a little bit cheesy. Yeah, proper mature cheddar cheese line, but it's all well and good saying that the owners have helped do that. Of course they have, but we were down and out, and the owners were going for, like, obviously the likes of Unai Emery. Yes, that might have worked out. Who knows? That's like trying to guess the unguessable. But Eddie Howe, the way that he is, I think he's done a unique job. As I said earlier in the video, that will probably go down in history. And I now wake up every single match day excited to go to the match. Not just putting up with the game, expecting the worst, actually excited to go to the match. And the future just excites the hell out of me. If this is what the man can do in a year, from 20th, 19th in the league with no wins in November last year, to 3rd, looking absolutely unstoppable with 1 defeat to his name as we approach the halfway point of the season, I don't know where we could be in 2 years' time, because the man is still learning, the man is still keen to improve, and obviously with those owners in place, he's going to have the tools and the armour at his disposal to keep adding to the squad and improving. And I think he's exceeded all expectations. Some people were on the fence when he first came in, and the one line that really annoys me still to this day when I speak to other fans of teams and even some Newcastle fans is, yeah, Eddie Howe's done a good job, but is he the man to really take you to that next level? Why not? That's the one line that bugs me. He's done nothing to prove otherwise. He hasn't had many jobs in football. Bournemouth wasn't really the job where he was ever going to win anything. He just got them promoted in incredible fashion from the bottom divisions to the Premier League in not very long at all. Why can't he? Your Alex Fergusons, your Bobby Robsons, your Arsene Wengers, all of these managers at one point hadn't won anything. And it really bugs me, that line, because what he has done is nothing short of incredible. So thank you very much, Eddie Howe, for the job you've done in these last 365 days. Happy anniversary. I hope you're having a massive glass of wine, but you probably won't be. You'll probably be sat doing tactics for the Palace game and getting a very early night, because that's the Eddie Howe that we love, and long may that continue. Wow, what a job, Newcastle fans. So if you are new to the channel, drop down, give us one of these, and let us know in the comments what you think about Eddie Howe's and what he's done so far in the year he's been in charge. Maybe there might be some Newcastle fans out there who don't like him as much as what I've just talked about. I'd be very intrigued and a little bit gobsmacked to hear about those. But hey, let us know in the comments whatever thoughts you want at all. I love reading them, I love replying to them. And drop down, if you've lasted this long on the video, whack that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video, which will probably be a Crystal Palace Cup match preview. However, Eddie Howe's mags, 1 year on.